Hello, hello, each and every one of you, beautiful ladies and men that may be joining us as well. You are here for our Global Chamber Women in Leadership. And with being women comes a whole bunch of responsibilities. And I'm sure you're going to be nodding, you're going to be typing in the chat, you're going to be asking questions, and most certainly be amused and amazed by our guest speaker today, Laura Ash. So I'll just start with a few slides because this allows me to share with you our global chamber, who we are. If you're new to this venue, I'll share that with you. Okay. So you're here for the right globinar. If you're here for Global Chamber, Global Women Online Networking, and Women in Leadership. And how's this sound? I hope it's good on everybody's side. You can do a thumbs up or just um, show me in the chat that you can hear. Okay, thumbs ups and hearts. So we're on the right track. My name is Dana Austin. I am the Executive Director for Global Chamber Atlanta. And I was showing you that we're having this beautiful, pristine fall colors, which is one thing that we're known for, the various seasons and a short winter. I also head up the author series, and on occasion, I get to lead out when Maria's not leading out for the women in leadership. So I'm grateful. And as I said, men and women are welcome and the youth as well. Global Chamber, as you know, we are the first global chamber of commerce located in hundreds of metros around the area, focused on growing cross-border trade and investment in a collaborative way everywhere. We're growing in 525 metros around the world, and our mission continues to be to accelerate cross-border trade and investment in every region of the world. And we do that by engaging top executives and leaders with warm connections and timely information to grow businesses, to create success, and change the world. We're ecstatic about that. And it lines up just right with our vision because what we do is we're a business world where it's as easy growing across reason as it's easy selling across the street. And you can do that. When you say, well, where are you guys located? Where is Global Chamber located? You're growing in 525 metros. Where's your home? Phoenix, Arizona. We are housed actually, I think on the first floor in Thunderbird School of Management in Phoenix, Arizona. And because of our affiliation with Global Chamber and Thunderbird, we're now also have connections with their 30 locations around the globe. So that means that our reach is even further. Now, we are going to be talking about this today. And I mentioned to you that we're going to talk about burnout. Now, you can raise your hand or put something in the chat, but we won't be opening the mics quite yet. But are you known? Does this picture look familiar to you as a woman? And if you want to nod your head, you got to put yourself on video so we can see your face or do a thumbs up or something because we engage while we're here. But I also happen to know that we multitask while we're here. How do I know that? Because I was just multitasking while I was on with my admin doing our multi-weekly meetings, preparing for this meeting and preparing for something else. It's not that we don't want to be fully present and available, but we have to work really hard to do it because we're known as multitaskers. We don't proudly wear that moniker, but it is what we do. But another term that I became recently familiar with is called multi-hyphenates. And that's if you have more than one talent to do many things. And so that increases our stretch ability, I should say. And we can also be labeled as superwomen. And I saw those hands up and those thumbs saying, yes, this resonates with me. Well, let me just throw some stats at you because a lot of times we need numbers to stick on the wall, and here they are. And then Laura's going to give you the whole kit and the caboodle. So burnout, she'll give it to you the more details of what it is and what it looks like. But among women in business is a significant and growing concern. This is Deloitte and McKinsey and Company. They say research reveals that senior level women, so this talking about us, are particularly affected Why? Because we experience higher rates of chronic stress and burnout compared to our male counterparts. And you're going to notice in these few slide decks that I kept trying to put a man in there burnout, but it wouldn't allow that picture to stick. But so it really supports the statistics provided by Deloitte and McKinsey that women in business suffer from burnout at a higher level. And according to McKinsey, nearly 50% of senior women report feeling chronically stressed, largely due to long hours, limited support, and higher expectations placed on them, especially in a hybrid or remote work environment. And I've done that, worked in remote quite extensively or a hybrid. But many women leaders cite a lack of meaningful feedback, insufficient career support, and poor work-life balance as a primary contributor to burnout and dissatisfaction in their roles. That's a good, did you know? So also Deloitte globally surveys also indicates that 83% of women say their stress levels have risen since last year. Anybody online? I think our demands rise, our stress level rise, unless we're distributing, delegating. That's one of the challenges. Isn't that right, Nima? And burnout is leading reason many women are considering leaving their current roles alongside limited flexibility and advancement opportunities. But furthermore, the same study found that nearly 60% of women working in hybrid environments feel excluded from crucial meetings, which hampers their ability to connect with leadership. So you can see by taking on different roles, working in various environments, it impacts us grossly differently. And the implication of these foundings are profound. And this is where I tried to put a man in the picture with his head down. I tried to do that 5 times. It wouldn't stick. So I said, you know what? It's really supporting the data and the statistics that 53% and higher we experience in burnout more. And these implications are profound, suggesting that organization must prioritize wellness, which Laura's going to talk about, inclusivity, and effective support systems to retain talented women in leadership. And I think that flexibility around our schedules, being in tune and valued, really makes us go the extra mile, but also finding the balance. So here is our superwoman today. Laura Ash is our speaker. She's going to be conducting this discussion and conversation, and we'll even have one breakout session. Laura is a former police and counterterrorism intelligence officer turned health and wellness expert. I just love that she's a powerful police and counterterrorist intelligence. I mean, looking at her picture and her face, she just seems unassuming in that way. So that means she was great at what she did and nobody suspected her coming. And after medical retirement 11 years ago, due to a diagnosis of bipolar and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, Laura launched Rock Solid Health the very next day. Wow. Oh, I can't wait to hear that quote you're going to talk about. So she launched Rock Solid Health the very next day. And initially, the focus was on weight loss and body transformation. Her journey took a pivotal turn in 2017 when she experienced severe burnout, nearly losing the business that she had built. From that point, Laura dedicated herself to helping people around the world reduce stress and rehabilitate from burnout, sharing her hard-earned insight and expertise. I want to not only champion her, but also even take advantage of the services that she offers as a prevention for myself. And I'm happy to share some of my story in a little bit. And Laura has been featured on TV shows and magazines, on the radio, and she is the author of 2 books, including The Energy Reset, released in February this year. And this book guides readers on how to beat burnout and reclaim their passion for life. Alongside with her husband, a former prison officer, Laura also works with corporate clients, delivering impactful keynotes and workshops to help business owners and professionals manage stress and achieve balance in their lives. So if you are a business owner, which I'm sure you are, if you work and lead an organization, some of you do, these services are for us and to bring to our businesses so that we can prevent burnout and you have high productivity and efficiency when we do the preventative work. Unfortunately, most of us, including myself, have been on the reactive side. So my background is in healthcare, and I also coach writers and then lead up in Global Chamber in the various aspects that I share. So you can see that having a plate that's quite full can lead to burnout. So my story is this year in my life, I experienced burnout for the first time. not only burnout, I also experienced compassion fatigue. Me being a nurturer, a caregiver, a healthcare professional, you're always to be on and to support and to nurture. And if that's your role, you can also show up that way in your family, which means you can be that giver and supporter. And so you can see there's a level of depletion without replenishing that can happen very quickly. And that happened to me this year. And it looked like this. We have family, our matriarch lives abroad, the oldest matriarch in Bermuda. So when she wasn't well, my sister, myself, my father, back and forth there, spending exorbitant amount of time and energy, which is what we would do. Then managing the businesses here and even trying to do some of it from Bermuda. And the other part is as a healthcare provider doing that part-time, people are still taking. So I just got compassion fatigue. And then we had several loss in our family lives, people that passed. And what did that look out for me? I was not able to keep up with things. I wasn't able. I kept moving though, but I wasn't able to keep up and stay on top of things. And I felt that my energy was depleted. And I showed up, but after I showed up, I was completely exhausted. I was wiped out. And as a healthcare provider, sometimes, we need someone to tell us you need to get help. You need to seek some assistance or you need to take a break. And you did that. So I did that, but we'll talk more about what and the how after Laura does her presentation. So if you would join me in welcoming Laura, our superwoman. Welcome, Laura, and tell us where you're located, please.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today, Dana. It's really lovely to be here with all of you, everybody kind of across the globe. It's so lovely. Yes, so I'm Laura. I'm based actually in Folkestone in Kent, so I'm in the UK. Does anybody know the Channel Tunnel? Have you heard of that before? There's a tunnel that goes from England to France underneath the English Channel there. Maybe you've heard of that. Let us know in the comments box if you have, or give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Well, we actually live on top of that hill. So we actually look down and we can see the Channel Tunnel, and we can even see France on a good day, which is pretty amazing. But yes, so that's where I am, Dana.
Awesome.
What else would you love to know? Do you want me to go into what burnout is, how it shows up, that kind of thing?
Yes, please. If you
Oh,
can define it for us, what it looks like, how it sneaks up on you. And I
well,
know we like to know how to prevent it and manage it. And
no
if you can
problems. As I say,
add a little volume, Nima. I
yeah,
mean, add a little volume, Laura, because I had to do it
yeah.
for you too on my side.
See, I'm so softly spoken. That's what it's all about. Can you all hear me better now? Yeah?
Yes,
Excellent. Cool.
yes.
One thing I want to start with. So, Dana, you were talking actually there. It was really interesting because you were saying, you had a lot of grief, unfortunately, that you experienced, and you're a caregiver. And I think a lot of the time when we think about burnout, we often think, oh, it's work related. And even the World Health Organization,
Hmm.
they also say it's a workplace phenomena, conceptualized because we have high work levels and it shows up in powerlessness or cynicism. But I believe that to be untrue. And the reason I know that is because, Dana, you are a living example here, sat, and also my clients. For me, burnout happens when you don't spend enough time doing the things you love with the people you love.
Mm,
You lose your identity. You become your job. You become a carer, you know. We do a lot of charity work and we work with caregivers, and they experience burnout as well. And so for me, that's the actual definition of burnout. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced it at all, but I definitely know when I burnt out, it was because I lost who I was. I just became Laura Ash, rock solid. And that in self has dangers as well, especially when when maybe you lose your job, or maybe you have to close your business, or like me, when I left the police force, your identity is tied in with that.
hmm.
Now, burnout, the way that we talk about it is that it comes in three different dimensions. And this was found out by a lady called Christina Maslach, and she did some research with the University of Berkeley. And they were looking at how they could put people back into work using psychology. And what
Mhm.
they found out, there were three dimensions. So the three dimensions of burnout are mental, physical, and emotional. So mental is often paired with something that we call cynicism. Emotional is paired with something called powerlessness, and physical is paired with what we call exhaustion. And they all have different symptoms, okay, to them. So let me share with you these different symptoms. So when it comes to emotional burnout and powerlessness, that's when we feel like our self-worth starts to go down. We start double guessing ourselves, checking ourselves. We withdraw. It's a very what I would call very low energy, a very dark energy. You lose motivation. You start
Mhm.
to question your self-worth. You might be scrolling and start, sort of questioning your destiny, or can I do this job anymore, right? Then we have physical burnout, which you were talking about, Daniels, where we feel absolutely exhausted. Like
Mhm.
literally, I can't be bothered to make dinner, maybe even get dressed. Everything
Mhm.
feels like I'm going through treacle. I can't be bothered to work out. You might have things showing up in your body like psoriasis or IBS or skin conditions or sleepless nights, this kind of thing. And then we move on to one that we don't really want to admit to.
Mhm.
And this is mental, and this is where we're cynical. And the reason we don't want to admit to it is because it's so far from our values as people. I think you'll all agree on here. We're all very giving people. We like to, be empathetic. But let me tell you, when you face mental burnout, you are judgmental, you are cynical, you are negative, you are angry, you are irritable. And it's these things that can really show up. And you know what I found? We have a burnout self assessment. And over COVID, a lot of people were struggling with emotional burnout. They hadn't seen their friends and family. They were feeling very anxious, very nervous. But as we've come out of that, I've checked our burnout self assessment, and more people are struggling with mental burnout now. And that's a
Mhm.
big thing that a lot of people are coming at me with. So it's really interesting to see how that has changed. And there are different symptoms, as we face with those. So really interesting to think about it in those terms. And that's the first place that we have to start. We have to accept and acknowledge where we are in terms of what area of burnout we might be facing. Because I don't know if everyone's tried to lose weight here before. I definitely know I have, and we were in that space before. And when someone comes to you and said, I need to lose weight, that is a whole big thing to unpack there. Well, what is it? Do
Mhm.
we need to go to the gym? Is it your eating? Is it your sleeping? Is it your food? What is it? When someone comes to you and says, I'm burnt out, again, to try and solve that, that's a massive, great issue. So let's break it down and go, actually, what area of burnout are you actually struggling with? And I'll share a little bit more about the ACE method a little bit later on. Maybe we can have a breakout room and just have a discussion around some of these different symptoms, and maybe we've experienced them, and how that then changes your mindset in terms of, actually, it might be easier for me to deal with if I can understand which dimension I'm in, and then I can talk about afterwards how we can work towards to maybe rehabilitate. Because I know you said
Mhm.
about preventing burnout, right?
Mhm.
And this is really quite controversial. And yes, I would love to prevent everyone from having burnout. However, it's often not the case.
Mhm.
And it's
You
often
sh
the case. Yeah, go on.
you shared a quote earlier, right before we started recording. If I could interject and ask
Yeah,
you to repeat that because it's so worth and so profound.
yeah, definitely. See, sometimes when we go into burnout, actually think it's a necessity, because sometimes I feel we need to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough.
Hmm.
you know?
Yes, how
Sometimes,
profound.
yeah,
Because that's the only time that many of us will stop. I'm speaking from self.
yeah,
We have to have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough.
yeah.
What did that look like for you?
For me, my breakdown was we almost lost the business. I literally snapped overnight and was crying hysterically for 3 hours. I just couldn't stop. And I
Hmm.
was catatonic. So
Mm,
I couldn't dress myself. I couldn't make a cup of tea. I couldn't even
mm,
watch TV. I couldn't even listen to radio or read a book. My mind literally had snapped. And
hmm,
it was literally my body's way of saying, sit there, do nothing, listen to me, kind of thing, you know?
hmm,
And I often find we get that with maybe migraines and headaches, but how often we just pop a pill and and carry on. Maybe we just need to take a bit of time and lay down, you
mm.
know? Um, and so I often find that that breakdown can often give us the space to have that breakthrough if we're willing to ask the question, what can I learn from this? That's a powerful
Absolutely.
question to ask.
Clinically, um, my assessment of what you shared with us would be that your body decided to shut down since you couldn't take the break it needed. It could not handle any more stimulus. So even physically getting up to do something or listening to something or read something, it was overstimulating and you needed to just be and breathe to that breakthrough and be intentional. So how did you navigate through that to come out on top, thank goodness, and then to move into your rock solid business and your two books?
Yeah. So what I really had to do was I really had to just take stock of my life and the habits that I was doing that weren't serving me, as in working all the hours, having meetings, not saying no, maybe overfueling myself on too much caffeine or, that kind of thing. And I really had to take a look at my daily habits and I had to ask myself, is this serving me? I would be the person, Dana, would get up, get on my phone, start working immediately, right?
Hmm.
There was no breathing space. And the two things that really saved me was morning and evening routines. And
Ah,
yeah, and comedy.
morning and evening routines. When I coach my writers, part of the coaching is a wellness piece and mindset. So within Global Chamber, we were introduced to positive intelligence last year. Our CEO and founder, Doug Brunke, made that available to us as leaders because if we can reshape our thinking and our mindset and create new healthy habits and routines, it impacts the outcome. And what I found is that I was doing well while I was in that program and posting and doing the work and the act, being present. And then as soon as I got a little bit overwhelmed, I shifted away from it. Because we are creatures of habit. So we really have to work hard to allow the sage to show up instead of the saboteur, just using those terms. And so routine, oh my gosh. So share with us that piece on the routine. And then some point we'll have one breakout session. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So for me, my routine in the morning was I would get up, I would get my breakfast, and I would watch Michael McIntyre, who is a comedian here in the UK, and I would make sure that I laughed first thing in the morning. That was the
Nice.
thing that I did for my emotional side. Then for my mental side, I would reprogram my brain. And I do this, I have a journaling method and it's 5 minutes. So you take the first 2.5 minutes and you write down all of the negative words in your head that are coming up, right? Hate, overwhelm, disbelief, sadness, depression, all the nasty words that come up, right? And then you take another 2.5 minutes and you write down all of the more higher vibrational words like love, joy, opportunity, faith, hope, possibility, abundance, right? And you write those words down and you do them for 2 weeks. And trust me, you will start to realize that in actual fact, the negative words, you can't think of any. They're kind of getting pushed out of your head. But then you'll find that your your more positive words will become more and more prominent, right? And you'll, sort of end up with a time difference. And then for my physical side, I would walk daily in nature, walk and talk. And so it was very much about doing those things for myself to be able to just small little things. And then little by little, I was able to get back to work, with the support of Barry, my husband, who runs the business with me. And at the time, our PA that we had, Tony.
Well, you were quite strategic and intentional
Yeah,
about how you recovered.
yeah,
And it sounds like you recognize the support that you had in your corner, that you needed to do it, with your husband and your PA, and then creating those routines of walking, journaling, laughing. Laughter is
yeah.
medicine, guys. Laughter is good medicine. And that's why you hear, even as speakers, will start off a talk with an anecdote or a joke,
Yeah,
because it loosens you up to be able to receive what is coming that should be great. So laughter is good
yeah.
medicine, and I like that. I think I need to incorporate that in my daily morning routine. And once I get going, the laughter comes, but sometimes I just need to get a little jump start.
And do you know
What
what?
do you say?
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I love it. You got to have a bit of laughter. I mean, I don't know if anybody, I mean, for me, I love the Cookie Monster being a life coach and squirrels having voices. If you look at them on YouTube, they will absolutely crack you up. But the other key aspect to all of this, I kept asking the question, what am I learning? What are you showing me? What is it I've missed? And how can I help others from what I'm learning? And that was really another big question I was asking. So rather than why me, it was more try me, you know, in terms of what I can learn to then birth into this world to help other people.
I I see Tiziana nodding her head when we were talking about laughter, good medicine. What what comments do you want to add to that?
Hi, hi everyone. Well, love is a good medicine always, but I'm more a sport person. So I agree with Laura to walk as a cure. I also do heat training, which really helped me a lot. And I experienced the burnout last year since I launched my business, and it was really overwhelming because I was all alone. And and I read a lot about burnout, but I always read the I always read that the burnout was associated with depression. In fact, that's why I thought that I did not had burnout, because I did not feel depressed, but I felt that I wanted to do more and more for my business. I want to work 12 hours a day, um, because I was growing, so I was excited, and I want to do more and more and more. So, and at some point, I find hard to sleep. I had nightmares. I imagine that, for example, if someone had to deliver me a job,
Mhm.
they wouldn't do that. And I was scared about something that it was only in my mind that that won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, what I hear you saying too, Tiziana, is that you linked burnout to depression. And oftentimes, just like Laura shared with us early on, you know, the mental, the physical, what was the third one, Laura?
Emotional,
And the
definitely.
emotional component. There's taboos, you know, and there's social norms, and we don't want to come across as inadequate or inept or unable to manage. But the truth be told, like she said, it shows up in those three different formats, and it's okay, even if it is mental. We are a world that have reeled from one of the largest pandemics in the last 100 years, with multiple lives lost and industries change and businesses have closed. There's no doubt that we're going to be impacted by that adversely, one way or the other. And I'm glad that, you know, Global Chamber, Women in Leadership, that creates a space where we can talk about it, not just talk about it, but also come up with some, how did we move through it? How do we navigate it? And if you're in that space right now, how can you move through it? You'll notice in the chat that I put the assessment link that Laura Ash has. So if you want to say, hey, I'm at a place of burnout, take the assessment, but not only take it, you know, share it with people that you know and love and trust that could benefit from assessing in a way that's private where they are, and then how they can take the next steps. So that link would help them with that. So let me just applaud you for sharing that to Tiziana. And I know you're in Spain, but originally from Italy. So being in a new location, a new state or new country certainly has impact. Venita, welcome. And Nima, I know we've welcomed you. I didn't know if either one of you had comments or a question or something you wanted to share before we go into our breakout session regarding burnout. If so, feel free to unmute yourself and join in on that aspect. And what I'm trying to do is I'm looking for the breakout link on here. I don't see it. But go ahead, Vanita, if you had something to add. Vanita's in Utah. That's the middle of the country for the US.
Love it.
Thank you, Tiziana. We see your link there. Nima, go right ahead.
Hi.
Vanita, go right ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really great conversation because sometimes a lot of us, we are burnt out and we don't even know it. And we don't know like we just like what's happening and not sure exactly what's going on and don't know how to handle it. For me, when I'm like overworked and stressed, I just give myself time. I'll be like, oh no, my body's telling me something, because sometimes your body tells you. So
Oh,
I'm
yes.
like, okay, I need to just step away for a bit and relax and just try and get back on track. So yeah, basically. And yeah, Laura, a lot of what you said is really relevant. And sometimes for us, we don't take the time to really realize that we are really being burnt out or we're doing too much. So I think it's good to take heed of that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Vanita.
Vanita. You said sometimes our bodies will tell us, and I will assure you that all the time the body will tell us. The question is, are we listening? Are we paying attention? Or are we so busy that we don't realize it? You know, if you have a pain here, or as you mentioned migraine, someone mentioned migraine, or whatever, that's your body's out of balance. You speak to that, Laura.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a method which I can share with you all that you can take away and use today if you like to help you actually get
Please.
in contact with your body.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about our latest energy reset retreat, and it's an acronym, C.A.L.M.S. How much do I spell calm? C.A.L.M.S, right? Calms. And what it's helping us do is helping us to complete the stress response cycle. So like Vanita said, when she doesn't feel right, She stops, she takes a break, she moves away. She's completing the stress response cycle. But so many of us are just like, oh, no, head on, head on. I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going because I need to prove myself. This has to work. I can't make it, fail, that kind of thing. So the first thing is C, and that's to become conscious of what's going on in your body. Hang on a second. I've got a headache. I've got a tight chest. My stomach doesn't feel right. I'm feeling anxious. Let's get conscious to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then start to ask it. So almost see that thing like it's another part of you and ask it some questions. So, what kind of color are you? What kind of shape are you?
Mm-hmm.
Whereabouts are you? What's the sensation that I'm feeling? So ask it, okay? And then you really then delve into the L, okay, which is about learning from it and talking to it. Okay, so learning from it and asking it, why are we here? What is going on? And really just delving in a little bit more. And then M is asking how you want it to move. And the reason I say to move is because it's an energy that's in your body. We're all energy beings, right? So that will be a certain energy because you've already put a color to it, a shape to it, that kind of thing. So you ask it, how do you want me to move you? And it might say, move away and, go for a walk or do some shaking or scream or do some breathing or, whatever it is. And then the last one, S, is you check back in again. So have you completed the stress response cycle? So where are we now? So, you might have put a number on it when you got to, actually really asking, is it, 1 where it's not bothering you, or is it a 10? So then you can go back into it and you can start then to see, right, has it moved down a little bit? But it's about creating a relationship with stress. We often want to push it away. I don't want to feel it. I don't want this. I don't want it to be near me. But the problem is that's not helping the stress. We need to make friends with it. We
Mm-hmm.
need to create a relationship with it because it's talking to us. It's trying to tell us something. And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
listen, it's like that 3-year-old that will go, Mom, 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 and then start rolling around on the floor in the supermarket having a temper tantrum. Right? And that's when you get the migraine. That's when you get the burnout. Okay. So it's very much having that connection and really speaking to that part of you so that you can really start to understand it better.
Oh, wow. I love that you chose C.A.L.M.S as the acronym to help move through and forward through a cycle of burnout or just a high level of stress that we're aware of. So what I'd like to do is to break us out into 2 rooms, and
Yeah.
I may have to move us around, or I'll jump in too. And we've got a small group, so this will give us an opportunity to share a little bit more detail for about 2 or 3 minutes of how you manage stress, what are some tips that you're doing, and then how you also recognize burnout, how you personally recognize and how you manage it. So Benita, I know you share, so you'll be able to recapture that story. Just a moment, okay? All right. Let's see. And thank you all for putting your contact information, particularly if you have a LinkedIn in the if you have a LinkedIn in the to share as well. All right, so in that, I had it right up here just a moment ago. I apologize. There we go. Okay, poll is done. Let's move on. I may have to have you talk for a few more minutes while I get this going,
Don't worry.
Laura. Thank you.
And again, so complete the stress response cycle. There's a little bit of stress coming up in the body now, and that's totally normal. That's absolutely fine. So it's just, being able to, technology is always a thing that, that stops us. But what we're talking about there with the C.A.L.M.S method, what we're doing is somatic work. That's what
Good
somatic
deal. Love it. Here we go.
go.
And just join your room. Boom. You, Nima, join your room. Go ahead. Perfect.
You're muted.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Thank you, Vanita. As we all hop back on the call, and we're waiting for Laura too. I think she might still be out there. What we're going to do is have someone from each group to talk about some of the burnout symptoms or workloads, and then what we came up with resolutions on how we can manage it and what you do. I'd like for her to, I'd like for her to be on here too. So maybe she'll hop back in. But let me share this with you while we're waiting for Laura, okay? So the one thing is that stress is inevitable, right? And a lot of times I think when we think of stress, we think of it as a negative type of thing. There you are, Laura. When we think of stress, we think of it as something negative. And stress is not negative because it could be good stress, but the body doesn't really know the difference between good or bad because it just responds to the adrenaline. It responds to the cortisol levels being elevated. So managing that. So each person, so Vanita's going to speak for the group too. And so either maybe Tiziana can speak for the group that you were in with Laura in terms of how burnout showed up, and then what were the resolution. So Vanita, if you would unmute and share that with us.
Yes, we talked about us as women trying to do everything and want to be, in everything. But some of the resolutions we talked about is managing your time and empowering others to help us do the work. And as we help each other to do the work, what we do, we help them to develop their leadership skills, but always make sure you bring it back as a group and have that discussion as to, what we need help with and what we could have done better. So I think it's just not putting yourself out there to be in everything. And Nima mentioned she was doing that, but now she has volunteers that are helping her. And it has made such a difference. So it's all sharing is caring. So don't think of it as they're gonna take over whatever, but you're helping them to develop, and in the end, you would develop as well, because we learn from each other.
Yes. And thank you for that, Vanita, for being that spokesperson. And I added that I hired company to help me manage my business and to scale. Can't do it alone, but I love the volunteer people. All right. Any comments, ladies? Tiziana, would you like to speak for the group that you were in?
Yes,
Por favor.
yes, yes. I spoke with Laura. Yeah, I share with her my experience. I was telling her that I got almost blind from one eye due to the stress. Now I'm fine. Yeah. Yeah. I also had stomach problems. I almost pushed away my family because I said them bad things that I regret, obviously, and I had to stop all these shit. Sorry, because I did not want to lose them.
Wow. So it was affecting you physically, and the way that it affected you, you pushed those that are closest away, push those that are closest to you away. And once you recognize that and you wanted to redeem those relationships, you had to take the measures, but also practice awareness and discipline. It sounds like you put into effect her C.A.L.M.S method, being conscious of what's going on in your body physically with your stomach, asking pertinent, honest questions of yourself, or what are you doing, or what's going on? And then also learning from that, being honest and authentic, delving into it and say, how do I need to move this energy that's not serving me well forward? And then do your circle, your stress back, your stress response check-in. Did I do that correct, Laura?
You're all good. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, let me share these final slides and then I'll let Laura close up our discussion today. So let me share these with you. And it's also a demonstration on how I'm managing my load. Okay. And can I still improve? Oh, I still have quite a way for improvement, but I'm certainly proud of the success. And I'd like to even hire Laura Services to improve more because that's part of our wellness. So my organization, Transformational Writers Academy, as I mentioned to you, we help writers become global entrepreneurs in 90 days or less. So we put out materials 3 times a week. Like we're strategic. We have a schedule. So it helps to have a routine even when it comes to business and marketing. This is one of ours. So we do these on Mondays. You're always going to get a did you know? And then when I was talking with my admin today, I said, oh, I think I'm going to share this did you know today. So this did you know that visualization has been shown to increase optimism and also regulate negative emotions like anxiety and feeling overwhelmed. This is supported by research indicating that mental imagery can improve mood and emotional well-being. So we were talking about the emotional aspect of burnout, the physical, right? So imagery, thinking positive things. Laura shared with us that she does hers with words. If these negative words come up, she journals them and then she makes a blast of positive words. She focuses on that, and those are what comes up in mind throughout the day. And that's also part of positive intelligence and being intentional. So the power of visualization is real. Whether it's a walk or journaling or sleeping or apologizing, envision yourself on the other side of where you are or where you have been in that burnout journey. All right. And then the other part is that this is how I recovered. I hired Austin Global Solutions, and they posted this on Facebook. I thought, oh, I'm going to clip it and add it to the slides today. And I usually comment and say how they helped me get back to me and to really focus on building and scaling my business. They do this service with administrative support, call centers, digital marketing. And I can't tell you how it has in the last, since May, June, July, August, the 5 months transformed my business and me. Now, the other thing is we talked about in our breakout session is a lot of times we as women, we think we are the only ones that can do what we do and do it well. That is a misnomer, guys. Stop telling yourself that. You are not. And I'm here to tell you that hiring Austin Global Solution and having an admin to support and then teaching that admin my vision and mission statement, not just throwing it on the screen and saying this is it, but living it, demonstrating it, so that when he sees it in me, he knows this is my expectation. This is the level that we are rising to, and even higher. And I allow him to take us higher. So he's an equal in contributing in terms of creativeness in the business. So higher. And you might go, well, I don't have time to train them. You don't have time not to. You just don't. I promise you. So, Laura, you want to tie this up? First of all, we want to thank you for making yourself available as a Global Chamber member and also as an intricate part of wellness and coaching and being honest so that we can show up and be transparent so that we can get the support that we need. So we applaud you. This is not the last we're going to hear from you, and this is not the last you're going to see of me because I'm making that investment in my well-being. Because when I'm well, I can do better. I can be better. I show up better. I'm not cranky and grouchy and whatever else comes with that when you're burned out. Like, don't bother me. So I like joy. And I was going to share a little clip with you, but I wasn't able to find it. So I'll tell it to you real quick. There's these little cartoon character, little stick women actually. And so the young lady who's an employee sitting at her desk working. And then her boss comes on the phone and goes, oh, I'm going to call her Laura too. Laura, I understand that you speak Spanish. And then Laura says, well, is there any extra compensation for speaking Spanish? Because now she's already doing her job description and a little more. And she goes, well, the most we can do is 50 cents more an hour. She goes, oh, yo hablo poquito español. All right. And so, and she goes, but on your resume, it says that you speak extensive Spanish. She goes, well, it just depends on what the bonus and the increase would be. She goes, well, the most I can do is $1 more. She goes, yo hablo poquito más español, right? And she goes, oh, I see how this is going. So the manager goes, okay, we can give you $2.50 more an hour. So then Laura goes, ah, yo hablo español, yo puedo hacer eso, ¿qué necesita más? Blah, 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 blah. So know your value, know your worth, and demand it. Okay, Laura, you close us out.
I love that. Thank you so much for having me. It's been absolutely wonderful to spend this hour with you. And the one thing I will say is give yourselves a break, right? 100%. You are all phenomenal people. Like you
Yeah.
are fearless women and huge leaders, right? But, you know, please listen to yourselves, listen to your bodies, be kind to yourself. And there's no shame in taking a break and a rest. It's smart to rest.
Oh, what a wonderful cherry on top of this incredible time together. Take the assessment. The link is in the chat. And you've already shared your contacts, so we'll be following you. Benita, I don't know if I have yours, but I'm on LinkedIn as well. Dana Austin. You'll see. I looked a little more glammed up, so you might go, who is that? It's me. You know, when I make time and investment and get that done, that's what I look like.
I
But I'm
have
so
you on LinkedIn, Dana. You're in
awesome.
Atlanta, right?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Whenever y'all are coming through, let us know because me and my global chamber executive board team, we try to welcome people that come to Atlanta. You got to just give us some heads up. And Laura's on LinkedIn. Tiziana Botoni. I feel like I have to do it like that. She's also on LinkedIn. Thank you guys.
Where are you at, Tiziana?
I'm in Madrid, Spain.
Oh, okay. We're so global here today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got Salt Lake, Utah, Atlanta, we have UK, we have Madrid, Spain, we have Tanzania, we have Los Angeles. So welcome everyone. Have a great one and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye
Thanks,
then.
Laura.
Bye.
Bye, bye,
Bye.
bye, bye.